Hello! Welcome to another video. This bad graphic just fits the vibe, so, go with it. Okay? Okay. Hi! So, my name is Anna, and I'm an artist from Utah in the United States, and today's video is me just drawing in my sketchbook. I had a few days off between mural painting, and definitely wanted to film a video, and I was like, I really want to do something that's kind of spooky themed, and I'd been wanting to draw 11 from Stranger Things for a while, so I decided to do that, and I'm glad I did. I did this over 2 days, probably took me about 3 hours total. Yeah. Sorry, I'm sort of brain dead because I'm exhausted. I've been working all day painting, and now I'm recording this voiceover. So thanks for joining me. I was watching this back after I edited it, like the first time, and I was just like going through to make sure it was decent. And it's weird to watch myself sketch because when you're just sketching, you're not really paying attention to how you move your pencil, or whatever tool you're using. And I have this really sort of slow, back and forth, sort of jerky kind of thing that I do, and I pause a lot while I'm drawing, and it's almost like I'm feeling my way through the drawing, which was interesting for me to to sort of notice, because I don't think that if you never filmed yourself drawing, you wouldn't really notice stuff like that. So yeah, I found it interesting. But yeah, I did this preliminary sketch probably 3 or 4 times before I started adding features in, trying to get the shape of her face right. I showed one erasure, but I didn't show all of them because I didn't want this to be a super long video, and I didn't want to speed up the footage. But I do like to show, as you know, if you've been here on my channel, I do like to show some of the erasing because I do make mistakes, and I do have to redo things, And, drawing a portrait is all about, I guess, like, it could be said with still lifes or anything really, but it's all about trying to visually measure the distance between features and shapes. And yeah, it requires some trial and error, I think. In other news, because you can only talk so much about sketches that are the same thing the whole time. But in other news, I am very excited for the final season of Stranger Things. I'm so excited, guys. So who else is so excited? Who else is with me? I started watching the show again while I was drawing this. I was like, I just need to have something on, and it seemed like a fitting decision. And I'm really enjoying it. I like it so much. Funny story about the first time I watched that. There's a precursor story to the story, though. So I'm gonna start with that one. So I don't even know if I had heard anything about the show, but I don't think I had. Like, I had heard nothing, which is weird because it was so popular, like ridiculously popular. I'm sure you remember. So my roommate and I went to FanX Salt Lake City, which is essentially like Comic-Con. And, we're walking around just enjoying ourselves, the whole thing. And then we keep seeing this cosplay of what we think is a girl in a dress with a jacket on, carrying boxes of Eggo waffles and bleeding from her nose. Now, I say we think it's a girl because, I kid you not, there were grown men dressed like this, okay? There were so many of them. They were everywhere. This cosplay was everywhere, and we were so confused. We were like, who is that? Who are they cosplaying? What's going on? And we were confused the whole time. Like, I do not think, like, maybe we did. I don't remember if we figured it out while we were there, but I do not think that we did. I don't remember for sure, though. But yeah, intense confusion. And then, we figured it out. We're like, oh, it's 11 from Stranger Things. I don't know if that happened while we were watching the show or if it happened before. I genuinely, this was like 10 years ago. So yes, it's been that long, by the way. Yeah, so anyway, then we decided, yeah, we should watch that because it's super popular and everyone's raving about it. And we both worked and stuff. So, on a day off, we watched the first season of Stranger Things in one day. I do not, absolutely do not recommend doing that. Yeah, I felt so gross, but also we couldn't stop. It was so good and we were enjoying it so much and just completely hooked. And it was just like, yeah, this is great. And then like a little over halfway through, it was like, we're going to die. And yet we just kept going, which in retrospect was probably not the best decision, but it makes for a good story. Yeah, never doing that again. Watching too much TV. Am I the only one that just like starts to feel like my brain is melting out of my skull? My whole body is turning to like green jello and melting out of my pores, and that I feel so just like this vague but completely overwhelming sense of malaise and grossness. Does anyone else get that? Sorry, that might have been a really visceral description for some people, but yeah, I can't do more than 4 hours at once. After that, I'm like, no, I'm done. I can't do it anymore. I have to go like walk around and touch grass. Yeah. Anyway, this sketch, like I said, I did this over 2 days and I wasn't really sure where I was going with it. I really want to do a whole sketchbook spread, which I kind of sort of planned out. I put like the logo, like Stranger Things, across the bottom, and then I drew circles for the other kids' faces, just the 4 boys. Like, it would be cool to draw more of the characters. Like, I love the teenagers and Joyce and Hopper and everybody. Like, that would be super fun. But for this, I think I don't want to go totally overboard. And I didn't get further than drawing 11 for this. But, you can always go back and add to pages. That's a thing you can do. So I may do that. I did leave space for it. So, but yeah, I really wasn't sure where I was going with it. I was like, I don't know if I want to color it. I don't know if I want to paint it. I did decide against painting it because I'm painting a lot and I'm very drained, honestly. It's probably the 2 hours of driving every day to get to and from the mural, though, that are worse than the painting itself. Anyways, eventually I kind of realized, like, if I'm going to do it in color, I'll probably scan it and do it digitally for this one. And by the time I finish this sketch, which we're almost there and you'll see that, I kind of decided, I was like, I actually just want to add some shading because it'll help it look more like her. And in the end, I'm like, I don't think it doesn't look like her, but there's something that's just missing and I can't quite pinpoint it. It's a little tiny bit off. If anyone can see that, like if you can see why it's not quite right, let me know. That would be great. Like, because I'm just not there. And I bet, like, if I go back in 6 months and compare it to the reference photo, I'll be like, oh, okay. But right now I'm just like, my eyes are like, nah, I don't got it. But yeah, I like to do pretty bold pencil lines, and I used to shade by using a blending stump and just, pushing graphite around. I have not done that for over a decade, probably. I tend to really like seeing pencil lines better, and I don't love smudginess anymore. I don't love things that are over blended. It feels the same way with paint for me. Like, I would prefer to see brush strokes and pencil marks over super blended, super softness. Obviously, soft edges are important, but I like them sparing, I think. But I got to the end of the sketch and I was like, it doesn't quite read as 11. So yeah, I decided to just shade it. I did color her eyes in a little because I was like, I wonder if that would help. And it did a tiny bit, but it's still just like something's a tiny bit off. And sometimes, like, before you add color or before you add shadows, you're missing, they kind of add detail to face shape that makes people more recognizable, I think. And sometimes you can get away with just lines, and sometimes that's more challenging. But yeah, here we are, day 2, and I decide to go in and just add some shading, and I keep it super simple, and I decided to try keeping it one direction, not the band. So I decided to go up and down, which, I don't know, it just seemed logical. Yeah, I don't go crazy with it. It's pretty simple, and I'm actually here for that. I was having some, like, weird feelings about this while I was doing it, which sounds ridiculous, but there's, like, I feel like there's, like, 2 camps for Sketchbook, the ways of sketchbooks. I don't know, like, there's either super refined, super finished art books that are sketchbooks, just every page is beautiful and finished and magical, and then there's, like, the really messy ones. And let's be honest, all of us are over here like, I wish I had a beautiful curated sketchbook. And I really do want that, but I also don't want to take away from myself the freedom of allowing my sketchbook to be a playground and to just be where I explore concepts and thumbnails and stuff. But I was kind of thinking, like, why can't it be both? Like, why can't I use it to explore and let it be messy, but also take the time to finish things in the sketchbook, to make the pages look nice? Like, why can't I do both things? And I was thinking that, like, yeah, I can do both. And I realized too, and I hope this might be useful for somebody to hear, like, what you do with your sketchbook depends on your personal goals. And for me, I spent the better part of a decade just focused on my health because I have a chronic illness and there's a whole bunch of other stuff going on. And I didn't do a lot of art. And the art that I did, it didn't help me progress much. I didn't finish a lot of things. I didn't, like, I've ever finished a lot of things. Just ask my high school teacher how much work that I actually finished. It wasn't very much. I don't know how I did so well in AP Art. But anyway, my goal in starting my YouTube channel was twofold. Obviously, I'm making videos, but that's just kind of it's like secondary. I decided it had to be secondary. Like, I want to be making videos. I hope to build a community. I hope to get monetized, all of those things. But the whole point was I need to make art. And if I'm filming it, that could help keep me kind of accountable, you know? And I need to finish the art. So the goals were make art and finish the art. And so for me, Yeah, I plan bigger paintings and pieces in my sketchbook, but why can't my sketchbook also be a place where I do finished work? And I did that quite a bit with the last one. You can watch that. Here's a link. But I want to keep going. I want to push that, you know? I feel like the more that I allow myself the time, like taking the time to go back to things and finish them and make them look nice, that for me is exactly what I'm trying to do. Like that's part of my overall goal creatively. And so it just feels like it makes sense to me. Is this going to be a super nice curated sketchbook? I don't know. There are some pages already that I'm like, this is not great and I don't know if I'll do anything with it. So probably not perfectly, but I think that that's okay. I think that it's just letting myself have that goal and making room for it while not also being so rigid that I scare myself into not doing anything with it, you know? Anyway, those are my sketchbook thoughts. And I would hope that people, you know, new artists and young artists, anybody who's just sort of getting started, don't let those super curated sketchbook tours scare you away from doing whatever feels right to you in your sketchbook. And assess your goals. Like, to figure out what your goals are and then do that. Make your sketchbook work for you in that direction. Don't do what other people are doing just because it's cool. Don't give in to peer pressure. Figure out your goals and do what works for you. And that's just kind of where I ended up while I was thinking about this stuff, like while I was drawing, you know? Like, yeah, it's cool if you have some super curated finished pages and that'll help you toward your goal. And I'm saying you, talking about myself. But yeah, you know, and it's also cool if you have some pages that are just unrecognizable scribbles. Everything's good. It's fine. But yeah, this is finally starting to look like 11. It really, like, when I filled in the dark in her eye there, it was like, oh, yes, there you are. There you are. But I still think something's a tiny bit off. Yeah, let me know if you are noticing anything. I really like it, though, still. I think that overall, I achieved my goal of drawing 11, and I quite like it. And I haven't done a portrait like this, like taken this much time in a long time. I did a few heads for my 100 heads challenge, but I think it's easier to kind of like get them mostly right when it's people that aren't super recognizable and it's not as big of a concern. And I didn't spend this much time on them. Like some of them I spent maybe close, maybe an hour and a half, so maybe half the time, but I did not go this crazy. So yeah, there will be more of this one of these days. Probably next year, because I don't know. I don't know about my time because of this mural. But yeah, if you want to see sneak peeks of that, stay tuned. It's World of Warcraft themed, which I have never played, but that's what I've been commissioned to do. There's a little bit of that in my last video, the one before this one, which is my September sort of vlog, September in my studio. You can check that out. It's got some other stuff in it too. Just pretty chillaxing, hanging out, doing art studio things. But yeah, I do think it looks like her. I really did consider, like, coloring in just the blood red, you know, coming out of her nose. But I decided against it, ultimately. If I do color this completely, it will be digitally, and it will be after I finish all the sketches of all the kids, which I actually think would be really cool and would make a fun print for next year when I'm hopefully back at FanX tabling with my friend. Fingers crossed. But yeah, we are wrapping up here. I'm getting near to the end. So real quick, before I run out of time like I usually do, thank you so much for watching. I really appreciate it. And thank you to my new subscribers. I see you guys trickling in, and I just want to tell you I appreciate you so much. You have no idea. Thank you for being here. Yeah. I've been kind of mind blown in the last week, just like watching the numbers crawl up, and it's not anything huge, but for me it's huge, so thank you. Here I didn't shade any of her clothes. I just wanted to draw them in to kind of anchor her more to the page. And I don't know if when I finish the other kids, if I'll go back and add some shading to the clothes. We'll just kind of see how it goes. Stylistically, I kind of like this. I've done it before. I think it's kind of cool. So yeah, we'll just have to see what I decide. I'm not planning anything here. I'm just kind of flying by the seat of my pants and seeing what feels right and what would be fun and relaxing for me. Because right now, the art I'm doing at home, for the most part, needs to be quite relaxing. I will have some extra time in October because I'm painting this mural in an Airbnb and there are a lot of bookings. So I'll be home for most of the month and I can get back to some of my other projects a little bit. But yeah, here we go. Here is 11 in my sketchbook from Stranger Things. Thank you so much for watching. I appreciate you. Please like and subscribe, and I will see you next time. Bye!